Hi there, good morning, wherever you are in the world. It's always good to be with you. And I want to thank people who have joined us from Australia. I think there's at least one. Hi, Jenny, I know you're here. And I know there's probably a couple of people from Canada, but otherwise, the people who are with us on the call are from the GCC, the Gulf. And many of those, of course, from Dubai. I'm also aware that a number of you who are here have been on at least one or maybe even two of the previous calls that I've had like this. So thank you for coming back. This is really good. So what are we talking about today? Well, it's the emotional intelligence secrets of effective leaders. I would say right up front this, that emotional intelligence and effective leadership absolutely goes together. So let's find out a little bit about it. But before I do, let me tell you a little bit about this guy called Graham Moore. Who's Graham Moore? Well, I've been an international professional speaker for 25 years. I'm a certified master of the Leadership Challenge. And if you didn't know, the Leadership Challenge is one of the most widely recognized leadership development programs globally. But today we're talking about emotional intelligence. So Graham, did you read the book? Well, I've been delivering emotional intelligence programs since around 2001. I've delivered them in a number of countries, lots of people. It's one of my favorite topics. It's up there with leadership as the two that I'm really passionate about delivering and sharing with others so that they, like you, can become more emotionally intelligent. Where did this come from? Little quick history lesson. Two professors at two separate universities in the United States, John Mayer and Peter Salovey, in the 1980s, questioned why some people are more successful in some areas, but they don't have academic qualifications. Other people who have even multiple degrees are not so successful. So there's a disconnect here. I think for a long while, people felt you needed to have high IQ, that is smart intelligence, and be able to get academic degrees to be successful. But they showed that that wasn't the case. There's something else going on that contributed to people's success. And what is it? Well, they called them emotional competencies. Then along came Daniel Goleman, who wrote the book Emotional Intelligence. And most people these days associate Daniel Goleman exactly with emotional intelligence. But he wasn't the first person to identify it. And that's okay. He's done a significant amount of work on emotional intelligence so that we can understand even more about this wonderful thing called emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman has written a number of books in the area of emotional intelligence and social intelligence. So check him out if you haven't already done so. EQ or IQ? EQ stands for emotional quotient. IQ is intelligence quotient. So quotient means measurement. So we're measuring EQ and measuring IQ. So which of these two is more important for you? Well, I've just kind of given the secret away. When I'm doing a workshop, I'll say pretty early in the workshop about emotional intelligence, okay, put your hand up if you've got a master's degree, an MBA, yes, PhD, wow, that's fantastic. I then say that got you or will get you an interview for the job. It will not necessarily mean that you will be successful. And of course, I am respectful of all the work that you've done to get your MBA and your PhD. And I know people here who have got two master's degrees, an MBA and a master's degree in science, in one case, as well as a PhD. And this person said to me, I just love learning. Fantastic. This person is also very high on emotional intelligence as well. It's a great combination. IQ is not the predictor of your success. It's not. Nice to have, but EQ, or emotional intelligence, is more likely to impact on your success overall. And when I say this, it reminds me of some years ago when I was delivering a half-day presentation in Australia on emotional intelligence to about maybe 80 participants in the room. In the morning break, one of the people came up to me and said, Graham, this is fantastic. I've learned so much. It makes sense to me. And I said, oh, that's really good. He said, I've been getting promotions and I wonder why, because I don't have the same qualifications that some of my colleagues have had, and yet I get promoted. Now I understand why. I said, yeah, fantastic. Later that day, I was talking to the HR director of this organisation, and I mentioned this man and what he'd said to me. She said, yes, he is absolutely one who's very strong on emotional intelligence without realising what he's doing. No, he doesn't have the academic qualifications, but he's just very, very well liked, very positive as a leader, getting great results. So, some years ago, I was asked by an HR director here in Dubai if I could define emotional intelligence. And I did. Simple, I said, dealing effectively with our emotions and the emotions of others. I shared a little bit more, which I'll show you in a moment. But when I shared this with her, she said, this is fantastic. She said, I asked someone recently who claimed to be an expert on emotional intelligence. And she said, they told me half an hour, a whole range of things, and I still didn't understand what emotional intelligence is. Some years ago also, I had a woman say to me, my manager knows all about emotional intelligence. And I said, oh, that's great. That's really good. And I genuinely meant that. She said, yes, he said it's about keeping your emotions inside. Well, as we will talk about in a moment, it is not about keeping your emotions inside. No, thank you. EI is your ability to be aware of your emotions as they are happening, and then decide how to manage those emotions if you need to. It's your ability to be aware of the emotions of others and be able to manage those emotions. Yes, you can learn easily to manage the emotions of others. You may be doing it now and you may not even realize that you're doing it. You may be doing it negatively. I want you to do it positively, to be able to manage the emotions of those people to get a better result. Of course, there is more. We've only got a short amount of time, but there is more to emotional intelligence. It covers things like social awareness, emotional expression, emotional control, emotional reasoning, optimism. People who are high in emotional intelligence are really optimistic. They let go of negative feelings and move forward. They see a bright, positive future. They are resilient. They understand how to bounce back when negative things occur to them. And they have a really good understanding of mindfulness. You might think that mindfulness has become a popular thing at the moment. And I think if that is the case, that is fantastic. I absolutely want people to be even more mindful. I know that there are great benefits in being mindful, but we're not here to talk about mindfulness today, maybe another session. Emotional intelligence is learned. Now, when you're a child, of course, you're not born with emotional intelligence, just as you're not born to be a leader. You learn right from the start to become emotionally intelligent. But if when you get to adulthood or so, you haven't got a whole lot of an understanding of emotional intelligence, you can learn it, which is fantastic. Unlike your IQ or your intelligence quotient, that is not really something that you can improve on, but you can improve on your emotional intelligence. For a long time, they believed that your IQ, whatever it was, at whatever stage of your life you had your IQ test, that figure would remain the same. But with all the work that's been done in the area of neuroplasticity, that's my big word for today, since around about the year 2000, we've recognised that your intelligence, your IQ, can be increased, but it takes a little while and a little bit of hard work. So emotional intelligence is not hard work. You can learn it. Remember this? Oh my gosh, some of you will not have heard this now because HR leaders and managers have become more aware. But for a long time, they would say, don't bring your emotions to work, leave them at home. It's almost like there was a sign outside the office door, don't bring emotions in here. Well, this is impossible. You cannot leave your emotions at home. They are with you all the time. They're with you right now. They're with you when you wake up in the morning. They travel with you all the day until you go to sleep, and then likely will affect your dreams. You cannot leave your emotions at home. So we've made a huge transition from leaving your emotions at home, if it's possible, no, it's not, to now understanding that emotional intelligence is regarded as the single most important development in behavioral science in the workplace. The more emotionally intelligent you are, the more successful you will be. The happier the work environment will be. So important. So what do effective and exemplary leaders do? Well, they lead, of course. They build relationships. They have vision. They build trust. They recognize people for what they've done. They encourage them. So what's one element that's common with each of these? It's emotions. There are emotions around all of those. They build relationships. Of course, there's emotions in a relationship. They have a vision for where we're going, I'm taking you. And when they talk about that vision, people will experience emotions when they see where we are going. The leader will likely express his vision with emotion. They build trust. They encourage and they recognize. Again, this touches the heart. This impacts on your emotions when you are encouraged and you are recognized. So how do effective and even exemplary leaders do this? With emotional intelligence. Now, some of them have it already, naturally, didn't know they were doing it. Others need to learn it, need to improve on it. So what are the secrets? Okay, the cat is out of the bag, as we used to say. I'm now going to reveal the secrets of emotional intelligence for effective leaders. They are emotionally aware. The first one is emotional awareness. In fact, emotional awareness is the foundation of all discussion around emotional intelligence. It starts with you being aware of your emotions. Expression, expressing your emotions without emotion. Emotional self-management, recognizing and managing the emotions of others. As I said before, you can do it, and I'll show you how. Emotions in decision-making. But yes, and I'll explain what exemplary leaders do with that. So how do effective and exemplary leaders become emotionally intelligent? If they're not, how do they develop their emotional intelligence? I say there are three particular criteria or actions they can take. One is reflection. Reflect on the interactions that you had after you've had that interaction. You might do it in the next 5 minutes after you've had that interaction with someone. Did it go well? Did I say the right thing? What would have happened if I'd said this? What did they do when I said so-and-so? How did I see them react? Could I have improved what I was saying and what I was feeling? The next one is self-knowledge. You know, it's really important that we understand ourselves. And the more we understand what we are and what we're doing and how we react to things, the more effective we will become. Here's a little secret. I've been in the UAE for since 2008, 2009. I thought I knew myself pretty well. I learned a lot more about myself in the experience that I've had when I moved and when I've now lived in Dubai for this time. Self-knowledge is really important. So how do we bring both of these together? And it's called journaling. Some of you may be aware of this. I hope you are. Journaling is where at the end of the day, you spend 10, maybe 15 minutes. Sometimes people might spend longer, but that's not really necessary. When you just write down what happened during the day, identify certain examples or instances of interactions that you had during the day where it was positive for you or where it may not have been positive. And just write down as if you were observing what happened, what did happen. And then you might write down what you think you could have done better or what you didn't do so well. Journaling is very positive, and I encourage you to do that. How do effective leaders become intelligent or more emotionally intelligent? Well, they ask questions like this: what can I do to improve today on my emotional intelligence? What did I do when I interacted with this person? How can I improve the interaction? What did I do that could have been better? Or what did I do that I hadn't done before and it was clearly a better outcome? What did I do better emotionally today? So let's look at some of the specifics about this in terms of effective leadership. They are aware. That's number one. They are emotionally aware. I say that effective leaders are acutely self-aware. They are aware of their emotions when they are happening. They know that they're perhaps becoming internally a little frustrated, maybe even a little angry. They know when they're feeling happy. They know this when it's going on all the time. And then they can, if they need to, do the next one, which is expressing it. Emotional intelligence is about expressing your emotions effectively. The example I gave before with the young lady who said that her manager knew all about emotional intelligence, it's all about holding it in, is clearly wrong. You do not hold your emotions in, you express your emotions effectively. And we say that you express your emotions, if it's a negative emotion, you express it without emotion. Obviously, if it's a positive emotion, you express that emotion positively. But emotionally intelligent, exemplary leaders are experts at expressing their emotions. So what happens when they do? It creates a greater understanding about you as a leader. You know, here's a simple example. I'm sure you've been in an office environment where there might be one or even more people that you're working with who are really quiet, who don't express anything about anything much. They just get on with their job. And they can sit in that office on that desk or where they're working for a long time, even many years, and you will not know about them because they won't express themselves. When people express themselves effectively, it creates trust and genuineness. People want to work with others who they know are genuine and who they can have trust with. Trust and genuineness are essential elements of effective leader behavior. Secret number 3, they manage their own emotions easily and effectively. Yes, easily. They instinctively, I created a new word there, instinctively. I think I like it instinctively better than instinctively. They reflexively, that is automatically, without thinking about it, they manage their emotions. Here's an example. Something happens that they're not happy with. Something occurs in an interaction, in a meeting, where they feel, oh, I'm not happy, that's not good. So instead of expressing it negatively, they will decide, I'm not going to let that affect me. I'll deal with that later, but right now, I'm going to focus on what's important. Or they might even say, that's not going to be something that's helping me in the long term. I'm going to let go of my negative feelings. I'm not going to take on anything negative about what has just been said to me or about a situation that I care about. They manage their own emotions very effectively. And I tell you, when you do this, you get great results. Here's a little secret, if you like. It's something very personal, but some years ago, long ago, I was having a repeated telephone interactions with someone which never ended well. They, in fact, never were well during the interaction. And it affected both of us because of the negative emotional impacts that were occurring in this telephone conversation. Did I look forward to this conversation? No, I didn't. And I then thought, this is crazy. I am wasting an hour of my life after the call because I have become affected by the emotional interaction. And I thought, this is stupid. I'm going to take control. And next time that call is going to happen, I think there are probably only 3 or 4 in total, but next time it's going to happen, I'm going to manage my emotions. I'm not going to respond negatively and allow the other person to know that I'm upset. So I did that. And I've got to say, this is what happened in the conversation. The other person vocally got upset. They used words and tone of voice that indicated that they were upset. I remained calm throughout the entire conversation. And when the conversation was finished, I felt fantastic. I managed my emotions. I got some really good results. So learn that skill. It was a great learning for me. I know that I can manage my emotions when something really negative is happening to me. And you can do that. It takes a little practice. Leaders do this very well. And when you do this, others see that you are calm and you're in control. And when you're in control and you're calm, you'll be liked more by others. You'll have zero stress, well, almost zero stress. You know, to give an opposite example of this, seeing you as in control and calm. There's a young woman, a woman, let's just say that, who came to me some years ago back in Australia about an issue that she had, and I was counselling. And she said she was having issues with her manager, who was a senior person, general manager of an organisation, a very large organisation in Melbourne, Australia. And she said sometimes she goes into his office and closes the door, and I hear things banging. Yes, he was banging his drawers by closing them quickly, and he was throwing things. Not a lot of control, not managing his emotions. And she said to me, how do I deal with this? And I said, well, I want you to recognise and understand that what he is doing is nothing to do with you. You have not caused this. Don't take it on. Don't become affected by it. Just accept that this is something that he is dealing with. Secret number 4, they are attuned to recognise and manage the emotions of others. This is really good. They are attuned to recognise. How do we recognise the emotions of others? Quite simply, we recognise emotions because people visually display their emotions. I smile, I'm happy. That's an emotional effect here. I'm frowning, I'm not happy. Obviously, these are basic, but we can see sometimes with the micro messaging in someone's facial expressions that they are not happy. They are attuned to recognise the emotions of others. You might have been in a workplace situation, maybe, where one of your colleagues has said, oh, have you seen Ali today? Yeah, I've seen him. What's the problem? Well, he just doesn't look happy. He's not, I think there's something wrong. No, he's always like that. The point here is that one person is recognising that Ali is having an emotional negative impact for some reason. The other person says, no, he's always like that. So the other person is not really attuned to recognising what the emotions are for that other person. Not a good thing. So how can we manage the emotions of others? Here's a simple thing. If you see that someone is nearby you and they're not happy, smile. Yeah, smile. What happens when you smile? For a start, you feel happy. You cannot smile and not feel happy because physiologically, the very smiling like this sends a message to that part of the brain where the endorphins and the dopamine is released to make you feel happy. Smile. It's a mood-altering device, if you like, for you, but it impacts on somebody else. So when you smile, someone else smiles because they know that it affects them and they go, oh, good, I want to feel happy. They won't say, no, I'm not going to smile. You're just trying to trick me. Smile. You can do this simply. Here's the deal. When you're walking into your office building, if we're still walking into office buildings through the pandemic, here's what I want you to do. When you walk in and you walk past the security guard who's there every day, smile at him or her as you walk in. You might be the general manager or the managing director or the CEO or the chairman or whatever level in the organisation. When you smile at that person, you will impact on their emotions. You haven't got to say anything, you just smile. But you can also say something. You can say to that security guard, you know, every time I walk into this building, you recognise me and you say my name and say good morning. And that has an impact on me. So thank you very much. Wow. What happens when you do that? This is really good. Let me tell you again, something a little personal, I suppose. Earlier this year in Dubai, I was working with a client and I had 2 meetings with them. And then on the third, we were actually doing something, working together. And a woman who was part of the group that I was meeting with came to me and she said, can I make an observation? Can I make a comment? I said, yeah, sure. She said, you've been into our office twice, and every time you come in, she said, you bring an aura of happiness. Really? Did I? Thank you. She said, and when you leave, that aura stays with us for the rest of the afternoon. I'm going to say that touched me. I didn't know that I was doing this, but I was able to impact on their emotions because of what I was doing. I was probably being happy. I might have been smiling a lot. But the important thing for me was that she said that the aura stayed after I left. So I was able to impact their emotions. Did she impact my emotions when she shared this with me? Yes, she did. We can impact positively on others' emotions, manage them simply. There's a whole range of other things we can do as well, but this is just an overview of how you can manage the emotions of others. And when you do this, you have positive and satisfying relationships with others. Others will genuinely enjoy interacting with you or that leader. How often have you said, I don't want to go and talk to my boss or my boss because he's always so negative. I'm not going to go and talk to him. See, not a good thing. Others will genuinely, I say, enjoy interacting with that person. You know, I've had many examples of people talk to me about their leader and what he or she does to create a positive and happy environment for them to work in. And they love that. They want to work effectively. The leader creates and sustains a positive and satisfying work environment for others because of their emotional intelligence linked to their leadership. Here we go. One of my favorite devices. It's not just that heart, but the heart represents what I'm going to say. Empathy. Empathy. And if you're Arabic, I hope I've got the spelling right. I know to say it as ta'atuf. The spelling may be wrong, and if I've said it correctly now, I hope so. Ta'atuf, I'm told, is Arabic for empathy. Empathy changes people's behavior. When you're in customer service, to me, this is the basic rule that customer service people should be taught, and they're usually not. Empathize with the customer. Empathize with the person you are dealing with will give you a great result. That must be really difficult. Can I help you with that? If you're a leader, you will show empathy for the people that you're working with. And that changes their mood state. They want to be with you even more because they know that you understand how difficult things are for them and you help them through that. This is powerful for engaging, responding, motivating, and connecting with others easily, empowering others. By the way, you empathize. Secret number 5, they involve emotions in decision-making. Emotions? I thought we should just deal with facts. No, if you don't involve emotions, you will miss so much in terms of the robustness and effectiveness of the decision. I want to share with you something which kind of surprised me a little while ago. And you may have heard this, but it was made known in the news a little while ago, where a CEO of a company in the United States had a Zoom call with 900 people of his staff on the Zoom call. That's fairly common these days, 900 people on the call. And he began by saying, well, I don't know whether he began, but it's fairly soon into the call, he said, I just should say to you that if you are on this call now, you have been terminated. You no longer have a job with this company. Oh, he fired them on Zoom. He says, a good thing? No, it's pretty awful, really. Apparently the next day he apologized and realized that he'd done the wrong thing. You know, I'm sure that if he was talking to some of his colleagues and he said, I think I'll terminate 900 people over a Zoom call, he should have said, how do you think that will go down? Do you think that's a good idea? No, most of them would say that's not a good idea because you're emotionally impacting negatively on the people in a fairly blunt style. So he didn't involve others, I don't believe, in the emotions. He didn't think about the impact of what he's saying to 900 people over Zoom, the impact of what he's saying to them. Consider emotions, yours and the other people who are involved in the decision when you are making decisions. Decisions are more robust. There's more strength to the decision when you are using more information to make that decision. And of course, you get greater buy-in if you've got people committing to and talking about their emotions as a result of the decision that you're talking about. 5 secrets. Tell all aspiring leaders and those who are not yet exemplary to practice each secret every day until they are habits. This changes lives, I guarantee. Emotional intelligence impacts on every aspect of your life. But today I just want to focus on that part of your life that is important as leaders. Emotional intelligence and effective, exemplary leadership are essential partners. They're not hard to get. Work at it. Work at emotional intelligence. Work at it in conjunction with your leadership. So guess what? On the 19th and 20th of January in 2022, that's coming up real soon, I am doing a 2-day emotional intelligence program. If you haven't done anything seriously on emotional intelligence, I encourage you to be part of this. Yes, I'm saying here there's an early bird special. You'll need to include that reference in any email that you send me to this address, graham@moresuccessme.com. I would love to have you on this virtual 2-day emotional intelligence workshop or course so that you have an even greater understanding of emotional intelligence and how your professional life and your personal life can be improved significantly. I have enjoyed being with you today, as I always enjoy talking about emotional intelligence. I hope that I've shared some things with you that can help to make a positive difference in your life. Remember, it's what you're thinking here, the impact that you're having, how you're communicating, how you're managing your emotions. And I look forward to being with you again, hopefully soon. And I'd love to see you on my emotional intelligence course virtually on the 19th and 20th of January 2022.